Hi, and welcome to another business tip from the Trades Coach, helping you to build a more profitable and successful business. Today, I just want to go over a simple but powerful technique that you can use in both the marketing function of your business and the sales process in order to make your messages far more compelling to your potential customers. And that's all about using stories in your marketing. From an early age, we're conditioned to enjoy stories. Be that from when you're a kid and your parents hopefully told you stories at bedtime or some stage. You typically would enjoy that process and become engaged in it. And it's because it tends to engage emotionally with you. It's a bit of excitement there, or sadness, or happiness, or what have you. And as you grow older, sure, maybe your parents stop telling you stories, but then you watch TV or go to the movies, and typically that involves watching or listening to stories. And it's using some of this in your marketing and sales processes that will help you significantly improve your conversion rates. And it's because really, stories engage with you at that deep emotional kind of level, and you can often get people will put themselves in that story that you're telling them, and then they feel more connected to what you have to offer. So there's a couple of different formats you can use for this, and you can use them perhaps in different places. I read a book a while ago by Donald Miller called Marketing Made Simple. He uses this story technique in a lot of his teachings around his marketing, and he makes the point that this sort of story format is commonly used in the movie industry, and whether you kind of notice it or not, often there is a storyline or very similar storyline into the movies that you watch. And that story typically is something like this. There's a character in the story. The character has some problem or challenge. He meets a guide character. That guide gives them a plan as to what to do and calls them into action. And the hero character in the story takes the action, and hopefully, it all ends in success and avoids some sort of failure. So that's a very common sort of format in movies and books and other sort of stories. Just as an example, for this that he uses, he refers to the Star Wars. So there's a character, Luke Skywalker. He's the hero character in the whole thing. He has a problem. The Empire is after him and what have you. He meets some guy characters. There's little Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who gives Luke Skywalker a plan, teaches him the ways of the Force, and calls him into action. Lots of fights ensue with the bad guys, and the outcome of the results is, yep, the Death Star is destroyed, and they avoid failure with the rebellion is crushed. So, you can probably think of lots of different examples of that sort of movie sort of format. So, and this is a good sort of format to use if you're going to be using video in your own business. You're wanting to try and show the transformation that you helped one of your customers achieve from taking them from an area of frustration or pain or discomfort or what have you, through the process, and out the end of it came this wonderful new project, and they're really, really pleased about it. A couple of important things here with this, using stories in your business. Most importantly, you are not the hero in your business. So it's very important that you must make the customer the hero in this whole process. You're there as the guide character. So you really need to focus on making sure that you focus on your customer or potential customer, make them the center of this whole process and this whole story, and you're there just to make their dreams come true or to get them over this particular problem that they may have with their house or what have you. So, think about using that format, that movie sort of format. It's a really, really good one for longer term or longer format type of stories, or certainly video type marketing. If you need something slightly shorter, or wanting to have something just like on one page that you can have on your website or print off and hand to people at some stage in the marketing or sales process, you can look at using a typical kind of case study format. And this is a good way of taking, perhaps you might have a testimonial from a customer and amping it up and making something far more persuasive about it. So a general kind of format to have for a case study starts with who's the subject, who is the story about. This is about Mary and Bob, and you may even include in the story about how a summary of how we helped Mary and Bob overcome their leaky house and turn their future around, something like that. What was a bit of detail about what was the challenge that the hero character in this case study was facing, right? And this is the sort of stuff where potentially that's going to connect with other customers who have that same problem. What was the solution that you came up with after study and what have you? What did you suggest that they do? What was the result of the process that you went through with this particular subject of this case study? And then at the end, this is where that testimonial, which often you'll have from customers anyway, hopefully you will. This is where you kind of put the exclamation mark at the end of it. The customers give that 1 or 2 line testimonial saying, "Yep, these guys were fantastic. Couldn't have done it without them. Recommend them highly." So effectively, what you're doing here is perhaps taking a testimonial and really giving the backstory to it to add more emotional power into it and giving a bit more context to what that testimonial is about. So take action here. What I suggest you do is look at 2 or 3 customer testimonials that you may have for testimonials for customers that you would like to get more of that type of customer, and come up with the backstory as to what led to that testimonial situation, and what was the drama that went from where the customers were in their life, the frustrations, the pain that they had, how you would help them transition to a much better space. Either that in that sort of story format, if you can get it recorded as a video with the customers, that's fantastic. That's another way of doing it. Minimum would be to come up with that case study. In that case study, you can include photographs showing the transformation from this is the horrible situation they're in, this wow, look at it now type of thing. Include photos of the people themselves. Certainly that helps as well. If you need any help with this or any part of your marketing sort of strategy, drop us a line, andy@tradescoach.co.nz, and I'll get in touch and we can make a plan to help you make some really, really powerful stories in your marketing and sales process.